This first day of the U.S. Open is a big one. Serena Williams tonight begins the final major of her tennis career before retirement with an opening round matchup against Danka Kovinic. The early round matchups certainly favorable for Serena, a 23-time Grand Slam champ, to be successful this summer, notes ESPN tennis analyst James Blake.
It is a great opportunity for her, just straight by the book of a match up for her to get started in this event. Kovinic is about who you would handpick for her to play in this first round, and then possibly Kontaveit in the second round, someone that really has not had a very successful summer either. We can dream.
First round coverage of Serena tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV. Dodgers put right-hander Tony Gonsolin on the injured list with a right forearm strain. He's anchored the rotation for LA, which has the best record this season in the majors at 88-38.
Brought to you by Capital One Auto Navigator, where you can find a car, get pre-qualified instantly, and see your real monthly payment without impacting your credit score. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. It is game week. Welcome aboard. The water is warm. Swan dive into the deep end. Tell your friends. We have been talking and talking and talking and talking. Do you know how long the month of August is for us? I know everybody has anticipation. Everybody wants game week. Everybody just craves college football. That's why we convinced ourselves we actually gave a damn about a game in Dublin between two bad teams or Florida State and Duquesne because we're just fiending for it. I get it. But for us, we have to have conversations that we think might actually matter for like 6 weeks until they actually play a game. But all the talking is done, and they're actually going to play a game Sunday in the Superdome, and I'm pretty fired up to watch it to see if what we think we know is reality or if everything gets turned on its head. Brian Kelly met with the media on Monday. Of course, the question that we all wanted an answer to is whether or not LSU has named a starting quarterback, and the answer is kinda.
We've made a decision, but I'm not going to announce it publicly, and again, this is for the certainly, I think everybody here wants to know who the quarterback is. I get that. But I think it's a tactical advantage for us not to announce it. So I'm going to hold that announcement because I think it gives us a tactical advantage for not playing. Look, Florida State played a game. That's an advantage for them, having the opportunity to play. The advantage for us is that we haven't played. And so it doesn't help us to give up any of our cards in that sense. So we're going to hold on to that card until game day.
I asked over the weekend and today, candidly, as many coaches as I could. And look, you do this long enough, you know a lot of coaches, different levels, high school, college, pro. I asked a bunch of coaches today and over the weekend, their feeling on the advantage, right? Who has the advantage? Florida State playing a game or LSU not playing a game? Against the advantage would be LSU has game film on Florida State now. Florida State don't know what LSU is going to do. New head coach, new staff. Matt House hasn't been a DC since he was at Kentucky. He was at Kansas City, but he wasn't calling the defense. You kind of get a feeling like you know what Kelly and Denbrock are going to do. Like you could look at what they did at other places, but that still don't mean it's what they're doing with these players, and you don't know who the quarterback is. So it was so interesting because my feeling, right, and intuitively, my assumption is what Brian Kelly said. That's an advantage that Florida State had getting to play a game. You get to go have the dress rehearsal, the sort of walk through, work out a lot of the kinks and whatnot. And that makes a lot of sense. What I didn't really think about, or what surprised me, was how many coaches told me, no. As a coach, I'd rather the advantage of having game film on them, and they don't know what I'm going to do. Specifically, the LSU defense. I mean, that Florida State offense doesn't know what's coming from Matt House in this defense, because I think one thing we can all agree, Ed Orgeron wanted a traditional 4-3 defense, right? I mean, that's what they did. This ain't going to be that. So it was very interesting. Again, I'm not relaying my opinion. That was a strong opinion from a lot of coaches saying, I would rather the element of surprise, meaning them not having film on me. And that certainly extends to the quarterbacks not knowing who it's going to be. One thing that Brian Kelly didn't say today, but I guess was assumed, is whether or not Jaden and Nussmeier know. He didn't specifically say if he sat them down and told them or anything like that, but we are to assume that he's got his starter, and they know at this point, because now they're into game week reps, and the guy who's going to start is going to be taking the first team reps. But Kelly was asked about the two and their specific skill sets, and if that alters play calling and sort of the game approach.
There's some great similarities between the two of them in terms of what they're able to do. They both run extremely well. They both can make plays outside the pocket, and certainly we don't have to change the play calling. There's not a dramatic difference between the two when it comes to play calling. So you can imagine that, when we're talking about both quarterbacks, this is a 1A and 1B. This is not a 1 and a 2. And both of them, obviously are going to contribute this year.
There's not a dramatic difference between the two of them with play calling. That's the soundbite, essentially. And now, because early in this battle, if you remember in spring, Brian Kelly said, look, it was all install. Just all install. And once they got through a certain point of camp, they were going to start calling plays that were specific to the individual quarterbacks. Now, clearly, Miles Brennan was a very different style of quarterback than these two guys. And that would have mattered. But what he's telling you here is it ain't that big of a difference now. We're basically calling the same thing. It's just who can execute it. One more, and I think this is maybe the biggest reason of why I think they're going to choose the person I think they're going to choose, about the quarterbacks and their emotions in this opener.
Well, I think in this instance, they're going to be, so engaged because they know how close they are to playing every snap. It's not going to be, put your helmet underneath the bench. You need your helmet on, because I think that they'll be that engaged in the game itself. So this is a little bit different where, there might have been a clear difference in terms of how, and I think answering the question earlier is that we're going to be natural in the ability to kind of flip to the next play with the next quarterback. This isn't that you have to turn over your play sheet and go to, Jaden Daniels play calls or Nussmeier, game plan. It's one and the same. So I think that in itself keeps you so engaged in what's going on.
I think, so this weekend, we learned a couple of the starting quarterback jobs in the West, the SEC West. TJ Finley won the job at Auburn. Haynes King won the job at Texas A&M. So the returning player won the starting job over the transfer. Of course, Max Johnson transferred into Texas A&M. And at Auburn, you've got Robbie Ashford. I'm sorry, he's at Ole Miss. No, I'm sorry, he's at Auburn. Robbie Ashford and Zach Calzada, two transfers. And it's interesting because, if that would hold here, you would say, okay, well, it'll be Nussmeier. I think the difference is the other guys had been there with their coaching staff prior. TJ Finley had been there with Brian Harsin. Haynes King has been there with Jimbo Fisher. All of the quarterbacks are new to Brian Kelly, so there isn't that history there to where the player. And maybe even more so, Texas A&M opens up against Sam Houston State and Appalachian State. Then week 3, they play Miami. You better believe both of those guys are going to play a lot in the first 2 games. They're going to use those first 2 games to see what they really have, so they got their guy week 3 against Miami. Auburn opens up against Mercer. You better believe both guys are going to play against Mercer because next week it's Penn State. You better be ready to roll when Penn State comes in. At LSU, you don't have the luxury of the tune-up game. I mean, it's Florida State. The spread is inside of a field goal. You got to be ready to go snap one, game one. And they already played a game, which is why I've leaned, a big part of why I've leaned all along toward Daniels. Again, I want to be very clear. And I know I've said this a lot, but just for the sake of the people who are going to say, you said, I'm not telling you I know. I don't know. I do not know. I'm telling you right now, I do not know which quarterback they've chosen. I don't know. My feeling all along, as I've told you since the spring, is you're going to go with the guy that's played in 30 games, that's got the experience, that has a dynamic skill set. I mean, all the reasons why you brought him here. And we'll see if that's what they choose, and if Jaden plays, if it is Jaden, if he plays well enough to keep the job. But ultimately, you got to start somewhere, and it makes the most sense that against that team that's already played, and it's a Power 5 game, and all the stuff surrounding it, you go with the guy that's been in that situation before. And then next week against Southern, you try to get both of them as many reps as you can. And then you move forward from there against Mississippi State. And then, you play New Mexico. The schedule turns October, and you got to be ready to roll. But in the meantime, you got to beat Florida State. And who gives you the best chance to beat Florida State on Saturday? My guess is, and as it has always been, is that's Jaden Daniels. But I guess we'll all find out together when they tee it up, kick it off Sunday night in the Dome. All right, it's after further review. I did say on Friday when Dennis Allen, when we found out that the Saints were going to play their starters, that if anybody got hurt in that game, I don't care that it's game week for LSU. I'm opening up with a red-faced rant just teeing off on Dennis Allen. Trevor Penning might be lost for the year. And I did not open up the show with a red-faced rant teeing off on Dennis Allen. I'll tell you why next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, just south of campus, Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. You know the drill by now, y'all. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV tonight and every Monday. All-you-can-eat wings. It's football season, y'all. It is time to make Pluckers your home again for football season. You've got football starting on Thursday. And this week, you've got college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Watch them all at Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Get there early, stay there late. Remember, tonight and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. So, belly up to the bar, reserve your spot at a table, grab a whole mess of wings and an ice-cold draft beer, and eat as many wings as you want all night long. As many wings as you want all night long for one low price at Pluckers. You got a full slate of Major League Baseball games tonight. If you're betting on any of them, you need a place to watch all of them, make it Pluckers. Dining, carry-out, or delivery if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Purchase your tracks today.
What did she say?
I think she said purchase your tracks today.
Purchase your tracks today. Okay. Did you purchase this track, Muse?
I did not. No.
This is part of our unlicensed music library?
In a way, yeah.
Okay. It's better than the same 6 tracks that would just be on repeat for many, many months.
I kind of dig it.
Not bad.
Yeah.
But keep playing it over again, and then 6 months are going to be like, would you please stop?
Yeah, right. No, then it gets
tired.
tired. Then it gets tired.
All right, so on Friday, I sat in this chair. And we learned that the Saints were going to play their starters in the final preseason game against the Chargers. And I very adamantly said, if any starter gets hurt, I will open my show on a red-faced rant and I will eviscerate Dennis Allen, because there's just no point at all in playing your starters. None. And you know what happened? Saints play their starters, and the Chargers didn't, by the way. You didn't see Bosa out there. You didn't see Ramsey out there. You didn't see starters out there for the Chargers defense. Todd Graffinini told us that. Looked like the Chargers were probably playing their 2s and 3s to open the game. And you know what happened? The Saints starters went right down the field and scored on a bunch of dudes that are going to be unemployed in a week. And Saints Twitter went, oh, look at the offense. They're so good. Oh, my God. Jarvis Landry can catch. Jameis can throw. Kamara can run. Oh, my God. We knew all that. We knew Jarvis can catch and Kamara can run and Jameis can throw and all. We knew it. We knew all that. You didn't learn anything about them playing against third-teamers from the Chargers who were all about to be fired. They're about to have to turn in their binder to the coach, to the strength coach. I mean, coach wants to see you in his office. And you lose Trevor Penning. After the game, Dennis Allen, I'm going to tell you why I'm not eviscerating Dennis Allen. I'll tell you why, and you're going to hear it in a second. This was after the game when Dennis Allen was asked for an injury update. I believe it was Traquan who laid out and hurt his ribs or something like that, and Penning.
I think Traquan, I believe, was a little bit of a shoulder. And Penning is a toe. They're both going to be evaluated. I don't have any updates on it.
He's got a toe. It was crazy, too, the Traquan play where he got hurt was the play where, is this not Traquan? Like, quintessential Traquan Smith. I mean, this guy just tries to make me hate him more. Oh, actually, that throw was Andy Dalton's fault.
I was going to say, at least he laid out for it.
That's the point. Like, Dalton throws wide. Traquan lays out for it. It's great effort. Great effort. Doesn't come up with the ball. Hurts himself. but manages to have the ball bounce off his hand 30 feet in the air, and Marquez Callaway's right there. By the way, screw the refs for blowing that dead. What are you doing?
Yes.
But so Traquan hurts his shoulder. After the game, Penning's a toe. We saw him get carted off. And it's worse. Ian Rappaport tweeted, if you haven't seen this, I'm sure by now you have. Saints first-round offensive tackle Trevor Penning suffered a torn ligament in his foot and will need surgery. He's out indefinitely. That sucks a lot. But the reason that I'm not going to eviscerate Dennis Allen right now is because Trevor Penning wasn't going to be your starting left tackle anyway. He was playing well. He was getting better. You'd love to have this time for Trevor Penning's development. And I believe Penning was going to play. He would have been your tackle eligible, with the Will Clapp rule. Hey, tackle eligible, like your extra blocker. He was probably your sixth lineman, meaning anybody goes down, aside from center, he's in, right? And even if it, knock on wood, even if it was McCoy, you'd move Ruiz to center, and then Penning would probably go into guard. I mean, he's probably your next guy. But even on Friday, when we had that conversation, when Graff was here, I told him, I said, look, if something happened to Hurst at this point, I'm probably more comfortable with Andres Pete going to left tackle and Throckmorton going to guard. Pete's played left tackle in the NFL and done a good job, and Throckmorton played in 14 games for you last year with all the injuries you had and was a good player. So I'm not even sure that Penning would have been my next guy in right now. Teron Armstead as a rookie ended up starting week 16 of his rookie season, and then obviously, except for injury, never let go of that job again. But it took him a while. It took him the length of the season to get where he was comfortable playing left tackle. And I think only then he went in because of injury and sort of necessity. So it's very disappointing. And yes, I get it. Last year, you basically got nothing out of Peyton Turner, your first-round pick in his rookie season. We know the issues you've had with Marcus Davenport with his injuries throughout his career. It sucks. I mean, it really sucks to have a first-round pick that you're likely not going to have for this season. He also likely wasn't going to be your starter. So somebody was going to have to play left tackle. And this is why after the game, when Dennis Allen made that note, I think he quelled whatever fear when he was asked about an update on Hurst.
Well, yeah, look, I feel like James Hurst is going to be back sooner rather than later. So that's obviously a good thing. But really, I don't want to kind of get into the hypotheticals because I don't really know the extent of Trevor's injury right now, but I do know James is kind of in a pretty good spot right now.
That is why you should come out of this feeling okay, because we know James Hurst, basically what Dennis Allen told you is James Hurst is good. He's just been battling the foot thing, so there's no reason to play our starting left tackle in this game when he's been battling an injury. So you basically held your starter out of the game anyway. So I'm good with that. Somebody was going to have to play left tackle. It was Penning. It sucks he got hurt. And you've been so thin behind him anyway, I don't even know who they would have run out there. I mean, unless it was just a guy that they just recently signed. So the bigger question now becomes, okay, Hurst is your starter, but what are you going to do behind Hurst now? If Penning was your number two, what options did you have? And I'm looking at the NFL, free agent tackles right now, and there are some really good players. The sort of conundrum you have is the guys available are starting caliber players. So you almost look at it and say, am I bringing in someone that can beat out James Hurst to be my starting left tackle, and Hurst reverts to being our backup? And there's a real possibility that could happen. Eric Fisher, former number 1 overall pick, is still a free agent right now. Eric Fisher doesn't have a home. So, you look at this right now, and it's fair to say, could you go make an offer to Eric Fisher? By the way, there's a report from Ed Werder that Eric Fisher has turned down 9 teams already. 9. So he's looking for a specific spot. I'm certain he wants to go to a winner, and he wants to start. So Fisher to the Saints may not be a great option unless they say, hey, you come in, you're our starting left tackle. You're over Hurst. Darrell Williams is another guy. Now, Darrell Williams is old, but the last 2 years, he's been the starter at left tackle for Buffalo. So you're talking about a veteran guy who has played a ton of football, has been a starting left tackle the last 2 years. He's 29, but it's another guy who's a free agent right now. Would Darrell Williams come to New Orleans to be a backup? Probably not. Then there's this idea of Alex Leatherwood floating out there. Leatherwood, of course, who went to Bama, was a high draft pick of the Raiders. It is assumed that he's going to be cut, but being reported now by Ian Rappaport and others that Leatherwood is a trade candidate. My problem is I'm not trading any asset for a backup offensive tackle at this point. I get it. You need depth, but you have to ask yourself, if you're the Saints right now, is it worth me giving? Is bringing in Alex Leatherwood such a dramatic improvement at left tackle over James Hurst that it's worth giving up an asset to bring him in, knowing I've got Hurst under contract and I got Penning returning at some point? I would argue, no, it's not worth giving up an asset to get one of these guys. But if you want to go call Eric Fisher or Darrell Williams, guys who have been starting left tackles in the NFL, and say, hey, do you want to come in here and push James Hurst to be our starting left tackle and play on a team that's probably going to be a playoff team? That's appealing for sure. And right now, look, there's no doubt with Tyron Smith's injury in Dallas, you got competition because Dallas is making all the same phone calls LSU or the LSU. Dallas is making all the same calls right now that the Saints are. But which is more appealing? It's easy as a Saints fan to say, well, of course the Saints are a better option. But you could look at Dallas and say, well, you got Dak Prescott. You got good weapons offensively. You're in a really winnable division. I mean, there are pros and cons to either. This comes down to Mickey Loomis selling one of these guys on it. But really the question is, are you sold on Alex Hurst as your starting left tackle? If the answer is yes, then you wait. Then it's easy. If you're sold on Alex Hurst as your starting left tackle, then you wait for roster cuts, and somebody is going to cut a good player. And you're going to be able to sign them and bring them onto your roster as depth, as a backup to Alex Hurst. That's easy. But if you think you can improve at left tackle by bringing in Eric Fisher, Darrell Williams, or Leatherwood, or any of these players, then you have a tougher sell. Then you have to go sell your spot. And you have to go sell your franchise right now to these guys because there's competition for it. It's just a matter. But again, the question is, and only Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen can answer this, how confident are you in Alex Hurst as your starting left tackle? Start there, and the rest falls into place. But the good news is there are options out there, and there will be even more as rosters are cut to 53. All right, it's after further review. Fired up, man. Cole Cubelic will be with us in about 30 minutes from right now. Last year, every Monday during the season, Cole joined us. That starts again today, every single Monday, presented by Roosters. How good is this, by the way? Muse, what kind of business is Roosters?
Grooming. Yeah, men's grooming. Hair, shaving the beards, all that good stuff.
Great place, by the way.
Really good spot.
And I love Roosters for their sense of humor. Because Roosters is sponsoring the segment with Cole and I, or Cole and me. And what physical characteristic trait do Cole and I share?
Yeah, both of you are bald.
We're bald. We're both bald. A haircut place is sponsoring a segment between two bald men. I love it.
They could give you the Bic, though, right?
Yeah,
I mean, they could go in there.
They could.
The
certainly.
straight razor.
I think the beard shave is the hot towel and all that stuff is way. That's really that's the solution for me. But I love that so much. So Roosters, I love the fact that they were like, yep, in. Cool. So good. Anyway, but Cole's going to be with us on Mondays during the season. We're fired up to talk some SEC football with Cole Cubelic of the SEC Network every Monday here on AFR during the season. That starts in 30 minutes from right now. Okay, quick break. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side all over town. You see them all over town because they treat people great, and they've been doing magnificent work for 40 years in our market. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Remember, nights, holidays, weekends, they will always come out and see you, and they will never charge you extra. So if it's a Saturday, you're watching the game, or in this case, Sunday night. Let's say it's Sunday night. You're watching LSU, Florida State, and your AC goes out. Call them. They'll come out. River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. But they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy, step up your seltzer game.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hey, Muse.
What's up, dude?
Was Desmond Howard trolling everybody on Saturday?
Whew, I kind of hope so.
Okay, yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
Okay. Paulie, was Desmond Howard trolling everybody on Saturday?
I'll say yes.
Okay. Well, we have a dilemma. And the only way to solve this dilemma is a scientific research poll. So, Muse, we'll put it on Twitter today because that'll tell us exactly what we need to know because that'll be a completely rational, scientific way to determine if Desmond Howard was trolling everybody on Saturday. Our Citizens Bank and Trust Twitter poll, was Desmond Howard trolling us with his Final Four? If you did not see it, on game day, Saturday, all of the analysts made their playoff predictions. Desmond Howard picked Texas A&M and Pittsburgh on one side of the bracket, Baylor and Michigan on the other side of the bracket, and he had Texas A&M playing Michigan for the national championship and Texas A&M beating Michigan to win its first national championship since the horse and buggy. Is that about right, accurately, horse and buggy? When was the last? When did A&M win it?
1936 or something, yeah.
The Model T was a little before then. So, microwaves? When was the microwave invented? Had to be after that.
Yeah, Model T was 808 to 27.
Hey, look up 19. See if it was 36. If A&M's last championship was 36, and then look up like 1936. Think like. You know how they have those like this day in history thing? But like what
1939.
A&M 1939. Okay. What was invented in 1939? Let's see, significant events, 1939. See what you get there. Because that's basically what Desmond's saying, that they're going to win their first since. And by the way, I would not be surprised. I'll say this right now. I would not be surprised if Texas A&M wins a national championship under Jimbo Fisher. You put together a recruiting class like the one they did last year. Eventually, those guys are going to be upperclassmen, and they're going to be good. Like, that's just the nature of it. They're going to be good. Can they get good enough quarterback play? Can they stockpile classes like that? Jimbo's won a national championship already. I would not be surprised if it happens while he's there. I wouldn't be surprised one lick. This team, however, is not winning a national championship. But it does remind me, it's kind of rare that you remember the preseason predictions, but I do remember this, and I remember it vividly. In 2002, Lee Corso picked LSU to beat Texas for the national championship in 2002. And, of course, he was a year early. Now, and that became a thing, and it really became a thing because at the end of that season, those two teams played each other in the Cotton Bowl. LSU and Texas played each other in the Cotton Bowl, which wasn't obviously the national championship, wasn't even a BCS game at the time. But so Corso's prediction got brought back, but Lee was a year early. And you got to keep in mind also the context, because at the time, it was very similar to Desmond making that pick right now. Because Nick was at LSU. He had gone through 2 seasons. They had won the SEC in 2001, of course, and Jimbo hasn't won the SEC at A&M. But my point is, it had been so long, nobody was predicting LSU to win national championships at that time. And Lee did it, and it was mind-blowing, and a year later they did. So all that to say, Desmond picking A&M to win a championship doesn't necessarily surprise me, and I think there will be more predictions like that as you move along. But this team, it surprises me, and the 4 teams he picked really genuinely surprises me. I don't know that Michigan can come out of the Big Ten this year. Pittsburgh in the ACC post Kenny Pickett is laughable, and I understand that they've got Keaton Slovis there, the USC transfer, but also Mark Whipple, who is the OC, is now the OC at Nebraska. I think that's a reach to think Pittsburgh is going to go undefeated and end up in the college football playoff. Pittsburgh's got a tall task of playing Tennessee here in a couple of weeks. And then Baylor, the Big 12 feels winnable with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams leaving Oklahoma. And look, Baylor won it last year. So I get why you might make that case, but to not have Bama or Georgia or Ohio State in this mix it feels like a troll job. I'm okay if you're putting this together and you want to take one upper deck shot. You know what I mean? One cut where it's like, bro, it's 3-1 swing for the upper decks. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You want to take one of those? You want to take your shot and choose Pitt? Okay. The one that I would tell you that feels like a long shot that would make sense would be Southern Cal. They were not very good a year ago. You obviously have a new coach, but that coach has a ton of playoff experience. He brought in not only Caleb Williams, but the reigning Biletnikoff Award winner in Jordan Addison, and it's in a very bad league. So you haven't had a Pac-12 team make the playoff since Washington in 2016. So it feels more winnable in the Pac-12 for USC than any of the other ones you mentioned. So God bless him. I think he's trolling. I do. I think he's trolling. I think he's just I think Desmond Howard does not believe in his heart those will be the 4 teams or any of them. I think he was doing that for attention. All right, it's after further review. If you want to bet on that, you can do so at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Of course, you want to make your prop bets. You can do it. Win totals, you can do it. You got a full week of college football action to bet on this week. You could do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. College football is here. Bet just new customers bet just $5 on a college football bet. They'll give you up to $200 in free bets instantly. Check it out. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And oh, by the way, I'm not sure if you know, but the NFL is almost here as well. And DraftKings has some amazing NFL wagers that they're also or promotions that they're throwing out to us as well. Same when you bet $5, they'll give you $200 in free bets. Also, this one is kind of crazy. If you want more, they're calling it Get Up 7. You win. Bet on any NFL team of your choice. If your team leads by 7 points at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Incredible. Download. They're basically giving you free money to wager with. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, remember, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. 1 per new customer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as 8 $25 free bets. Restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Licensing partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-770-STOP. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Excellence in imaging solutions. The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Break up Vandy. Are they good? Is Vandy good? That should be our poll question, Muse. Muse, make another poll question. Citizens Bank poll question. Is Vandy good? Vandy beat Hawaii 63-10. A 35-point third quarter. I watched almost all of this. I went to bed when they got up 54, 55? 56.
Because I did the same thing.
4, 5, 6.
I was like, I think they got it.
When they got to 56, I went to bed. A couple of defensive scores. Vandy scored 14 points in a 15-second stretch late in the first quarter. Vandy, they play Elon on Saturday. They're getting a 2. They're matching their win total Saturday when they beat Elon. And you go on the road, you beat Hawaii. You know what you get? Naming rights on your stadium. Today, Vandy announced that First Bank and Vanderbilt have signed a 10-year football stadium naming rights collaboration. It'll begin this year at Commodore Stadium.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
By now, you know Haynes King has won the Texas A&M starting quarterback job. 6'3", 205. Started the first 2 games a year ago before a season-ending injury at Colorado. King had been battling Max Johnson and true freshman Connor Weigman for the job. King was a top 5 quarterback prospect when he signed with Texas A&M. Aggies open up Saturday against Sam Houston.
The Auburn Tigers.
And on the Plains, it's TJ Finley, the former LSU transfer and lone returning quarterback for Auburn. That's won the job there. He'll start the opener Saturday against Mercer. Brian Herson has informed all the quarterbacks and public of the news. Finley edged out Oregon transfer Robbie Ashford and A&M transfer Zach Calzada. Finley appeared in 9 games for Auburn last fall, making 6 appearances as Bo Nix's backup and then starting the final 3 games after Nix's season-ending injury.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss still doesn't know who its starting quarterback is. 5 days before their opener Lane Kiffin says the beat goes on with Luke Altmaier and Jackson Dart. They're taking it down to the wire. Both competed in the final scrimmage this past Saturday. We will wait to see when the Rebs host Troy at 3 o'clock on Saturday.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama tight end, preseason All-SEC pick Cameron Latu is day-to-day recovering from an undisclosed injury. That from Nick Saban himself. Saban would not make predictions if Latu would be available for Saturday's game against Utah State. Latu, of course, set a school record for receiving touchdowns by a tight end last season with 8.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
And edge Desmond Umeozulu has committed to the Gamecocks, 6'6", 230. Picked South Carolina over North Carolina, Pitt, and Ohio State. He's the number 20 edge rusher in the 247 Sports rankings. He's the 20th commit for South Carolina. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy, Trey Beal, and our friends, Gulf Coast Office Products, online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. The official office equipment provider, the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, and ULL Ragin' Cajuns. All right, y'all, let me knock out our final break of hour number 1. This actually just hit my inbox. An LSU player has entered, a football player has entered the transfer portal. We'll tell you who next.
AFR.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
It's Florida State and LSU playing in the Superdome. Let's go. I mean, it's exciting. I mean, if you're not fired up for this one, I mean, it's two-story programs, prime time. I mean, it's what college football is all about, and we're definitely looking forward to it.
It is Florida State head coach Mike Norvell in his third year. Boy, he's got a lot on the line in this ball game. 3-win season during the COVID year, a 5-win season a year ago, and Florida State fans are really, and the entire organization there is looking for a significant step forward here in year 3 under Mike Norvell. And boy, a statement win over a program like LSU would be just what that program needs. But the flip side of it is Brian Kelly is trying to get off on a good foot with a bear of a schedule ahead. And you've got to start fast, as we've talked about so much, and I think he understands that. I will get back to Brian Kelly talking about Mike Norvell here in just a quick second. There is a little bit of breaking news, though. This just out of LSU, and it's odd sometimes because LSU doesn't always announce when players enter a transfer portal, but this comes from LSU Athletic Communications. Linebacker Antoine Sampa has entered the transfer portal, no longer part of the LSU football team. Sampa missed all of last season with an injury. Played 4 games for LSU as a true freshman back in 2020, but his time as a Tiger has come to an end. So I would anticipate the 2 spots where you'll probably see a little thinning out are at the safety position and at linebacker. We talk about it often. If by the time you get to year 3 at a place like LSU, if you haven't really made your mark and gotten into the rotation, it's probably not going to happen because you've got 3 recruiting classes behind you. So now what you've seen is here comes Greg Penn and here comes Harold Perkins. You know what I mean? And you got another class coming behind this one. And then when you go and you add West Weeks and Colby Fields, and these guys immediately take reps ahead of you, you just realize it's not likely going to happen for you here. So you wish Antoine Sampa the absolute best. The release said he didn't play last year. That's not accurate. He played in 2 games. He played in 4 during the COVID year and played in 2 games a year ago. He played against McNeese and Central Michigan. Then the injury cost him the rest of the year. So he ended up playing 6 games for his career. Did not record a statistic, but Antoine Sampa will finish his career elsewhere. We're brought to you by Schutz Electric, CESofLA.com, CESofLA.com. Sure, a lot of you keeping your eyes on the tropics with a lot of those disturbances out there. It's just a reminder that even though we're into August and almost into September, storm season isn't over. I mean, today's the 29th. This is the anniversary of both Katrina and Ida. So it's a stern reminder that storm season isn't over. Schutz Electric, CESofLA.com. They install home standby generators. We had ours installed this summer. Thrilled. There's already been a few times with all this crazy weather. Our power has gone out. Generator comes on, powers the whole home immediately. Schutz Electric can handle everything from the install, the permitting with the city, the electric company, all of it. Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com. Financing is available. It's more affordable than you think. Learn more online at CESofLA.com for Schutz Electric. CESofLA.com. Install that home standby generator today. Brian Kelly, of course, has played Mike Norvell the last 2 years and has played Florida State 3 of the last 4 seasons. Here was Kelly on Mike Norvell.
Mike Norvell's done a really outstanding job in developing this football team. They're a disciplined group now. It wasn't the same group that we saw a couple of years ago. Last year, they took us to overtime, the team that I coached last year. And, it's a team that has some talented players. It'll be a great opener for us and one that we're excited about.
Brian Kelly was asked several times today about not only Florida State, but familiarity with Florida State, with Mike Norvell, the advantage of Florida State playing and LSU not. We are going to get into all that. So glad to have you aboard with us here. We're going to grab a quick break. SportsCenter's coming. We'll get you caught up on national headlines. On the other side of the break, Cole Cubelic will be with us every Monday at 4 o'clock Central. He'll jump aboard, talk about some of those QB battles, and to preview week one. It's football season. Fired up for it. Fired to have Cole back on board. That's coming up next, and we will get into a lot of what Brian Kelly and Mike Norvell had to say previewing LSU Florida State. Stick around. SportsCenter coming straight ahead, then Cole Cubelic.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com, celebrating 75 years in business. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. If you don't know what that means, then you probably don't need Michelli, but if you do, you understand why ISO 17025 accreditation is so important. I love how many of you will take pictures of Michelli trucks on different job sites, or you'll text me and say, hey, man, we had a Michelli rep today on the job site with us, etc. It's just further validation of how much that business has grown over 75 years and how much they continue to grow. And they are hiring. If you're looking for a new job here in 2022, a job with a company that's been around for 75 years and looking for 75 more that values people, Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Go to the website, Michelli.com, hit the careers tab. They're hiring in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lake Charles. You could hit the Apply Now tab and find the job that suits you. Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Learn more online at Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dad!
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well.
Yes!
It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson remains hospitalized after being shot twice yesterday in his lower body in an attempted carjacking or robbery attempt. Robinson posted on Instagram that his surgery went well. The team has not ruled out his return this season. Live coverage of this day one of the U.S. Open continues on ESPN TV. Tennis's final major of the year, expected to be the final major for the legendary Serena Williams before she retires. The 23-time major Grand Slam champion faces Danka Kovinic in her opening round match tonight, and there are 4 keys to how far Serena advances at the U.S. Open, according to ESPN tennis analyst John McEnroe.
Her serve, her movement, how well she uses the crowd, because the crowd's going to be amped up, and the nerves of her opponent. That's what it's all going to get. We're going to see if Serena can rise to the occasion. She's done it a million times before. God, I sort of expect that it's going to happen again, and she's going to make some type of run. I'd sure like to see it.
Coverage of Serena's opening match, 7 Eastern, ESPN TV. Dodgers right-hander Tony Gonsolin placed on the 15-day injured list with a right forearm strain.
When it comes to hiring, you don't need to be doing all the searching, screening, and interviewing yourself. What you need is Indeed, the end-to-end solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire quality candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. Let's ride.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there. Make it a good one. Fired up about this. Cole Cubelic of the SEC Network, good enough to join us Mondays again this fall. Hit it, Muse.
He enjoys Victory cigars and pancake blocks.
Yes.
It's time to preview the week ahead in the SEC with Cole Cubelic.
Yes.
Presented by Roosters Men's Grooming.
So good. Pancake blocks or cigars, which do you like better?
Neither as much as maybe the most appropriate fitting sponsor to a segment in the history of radio, with 2 bald men being sponsored by Roosters. But hey, the place is so damn good, you just go in there and hang out even if you don't need a haircut. That's what their motto should be.
Bro, I told you that at SEC Media Days. Like, I don't know. Like, I love their sense of humor, and I'm looking at the screen on our YouTube feed right now, and it's just your bald head and my bald head side by side. Paul, we got to add Roosters to the slate, though, as well. Hey, thrilled that you're back with us, man. I know our audience is pumped to be able to hear from you every week. Let me just start with, like, maybe a thumbnail on each of the quarterback battles. Like, we know Finley at Auburn. We know A&M is going with Haynes King. Still undecided with LSU and Ole Miss. Maybe a thumbnail on each of those?
Yeah, I'll start with Auburn. I don't know if this was 100% TJ Finley taking this job. I do think some of Zach Calzada underperforming this year played into that. And I think also Robbie Ashford coming on, the Oregon transfer, probably helped decide that, he's a kid that they want to play. He's going to play. He's going to have a package. Harsin told me that in the spring. So he'll be somebody who I think can help make Auburn a little bit more difficult to defend. But Harson's big thing is running the offense, managing the offense, operating the offense. And I think when you sort of look at it that way, TJ was their best bet. Going back to the spring and since, I've heard actually since TJ arrived first arrived to Auburn, that leadership was something that was right there. He was organizing guys to go throw. He was somebody who this past spring was, when we think about it, he was the elder in the room, which is kind of weird to say. Calzada transfers in, Robbie Ashford transfers in, Holden Grenier, the freshman, comes in. Like, he was the veteran, and he was the guy that would explain protections and how to get guys lined up and how to do different things. So I think that played a lot into it. And Harsin told me on my show this morning with McElroy, he goes, hey, guys, college football players can get better. And I really do think we get away from that sometimes. Like, when you think about this, every time you hear somebody talk about Will Anderson this offseason, what's the main thing you hear? Oh, he's going to be even better this year. But every time you hear somebody talk about TJ Finley, what do they say? Oh, man, no, same stuff again. Like, why can't he get better?
Yeah.
Like, why can't Garrett Nussmeier be better than what we saw last year? Why can't Jaden Daniels be better than what we saw at Arizona State? Like, college football players can still improve. And I think with the sort of the hand that TJ was dealt of getting to LSU during COVID, having to learn the offense via Zoom, then being the starter after, what did he start, 4th, 5th string, and then all of a sudden transfers to Auburn. That kind of hits the reset button a little bit. New offense, not the starter. Nix gets hurt, thrown into action. So I just still think there's some development left in TJ, and we'll find out pretty early if that's actually happened. But I don't know if it was all just 100% him going out and taking it, although I do think he had a good camp and he's had a nice offseason. Yeah. I think Ole Miss probably the biggest question marks of the one that you've given, because I've heard Jackson Dart has been much better in scrimmages, but those coaches love Luke Altmaier. That staff loved him last year. And I think he has a much better skill set than people want to believe, just because he doesn't have the hype that Jackson Dart's name does. But that'll come down to, the guy who can distribute it the best and probably the accurate most often. I didn't like anything I saw from Jackson Dart in the spring game. Sure, it's a spring game, but just the body language looked sloppy. Like, the attitude just didn't look good. But he apparently has had a really nice camp, so that's one that I think is probably a coin toss. As far as Baton Rouge, I don't know how it can't be Jaden Daniels. I like Nussmeier. I think that there is a part of being a gamer, I don't really know what else to call it, that can help you go out and do things that other guys can't do. And it's hard to recognize that if you haven't been in a lot of games. But, that was what Coach O and that staff told us last year. Like, we think this kid has a little something extra that's not going to, he's not going to verbalize it in the film room. We're probably not going to see a ton in practice, but we just think competitively he might have something else that once we get out on the field and the live bullets start flying, will show up. I still think it'll be Jaden Daniels. He gives you a little more mobility and obviously a little bit more experience. And then as far as going with Haynes King, this was easy for me. I mean, the kid won the job last year. He knows what it takes to win a quarterback battle for Jimbo Fisher. And you guys watch Max the same way I watched Max last year. There were times that I felt like he just kind of struggled to pull the trigger. There was some recognition stuff that just wasn't easy for him. But I do know that he has legitimate skill set, and if all that comes together mentally, he could be a guy that's pretty deadly in Jimbo's system. The problem is Jimbo's system is the most difficult to play in the SEC, maybe in college football. I mean, the terminology, the playbook, it is lengthy. It is not Lane Kiffin going out there and telling a guy which kid to throw to and how long he needs to hold the ball in the pocket before he throws it. I mean, it is, you got to know a lot. He puts a lot on the quarterback. So I think Haynes King adds some mobility, escapability, and he'll be behind a pretty good offensive line. So I think some of those probably I saw coming from a mile away weren't very difficult to figure out, and a few of them we still just don't really know.
Cole Cubelic, SEC Network, also Jocks FM in Birmingham, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Is Vanderbilt good? Well, let me rephrase. Is Vanderbilt respectable?
Can be, might be. Better than last year. And just the operation of it looked better. And I'm not going to sit here and try to qualify a blowout win against the Hawaii team that has a new coaching staff that has 51 new players on their roster. But, that's another thing kind of going back to, players getting better. Everybody wants to poop on performances like that and, like UNLV's win. FCS team, like, well, folks, UNLV ain't won a lot of games the last few years. That's a big deal for Marcus Arroyo, all right? Yeah. Vanderbilt hadn't won a lot of games the last few years. That's a big deal for them to start the season and get a win. Now they come back with Elon. They could get to 2-0. And if Sam Hartman's not back for Wake, watch out for 3-0 Vandy potentially. But the way they managed things up front along the offensive line, I thought their tight ends had a fantastic game. And I think Mike Wright shows you that he is a guy that has electric wheels that's going to be able to break you down with his legs, and they're going to put in a lot of design run that you're going to have to defend, and that's going to be difficult. They'll be tested in a much different way many more times this season, But I also imagine they're going to gather a lot of momentum and a lot of confidence coming off that game.
I love that my guy's talking about Vanderbilt tight ends. It's so good. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, Cole. I watched a ton of that game, but when they got up like 56 to 10.
Go check out the 3 Twitter clips that I posted of them. I mean, one dude rolls the DB into the sidelines. Another guy gets an absolute kill shot. They were good. The tight ends played really good ball in that game.
I love it. I'm going to get a thought on LSU Florida State to wrap, but let me ask about a couple of the other big games this weekend. Probably highlighted. Look, is it safe to say that Georgia-Oregon is the highlight this weekend in the league?
Oh, yeah. Now that Patterson's probably banged up for Notre Dame and they lose their best receiver. Yeah, well, I think we all kind of thought maybe Ohio State rolls into this game. The defense didn't much better. Notre Dame can play ball control, limit the possessions, maybe give them 6 to 8 possessions in the game. You get a mistake or two from C.J. Stroud, and all of a sudden now you're maybe down to 5 possessions. If you don't score on all those, Notre Dame could possibly hang. Just don't really see that anymore. So I would still lean Utah-Florida, and a lot of people won't go there because they don't think that Florida can technically make the playoff. I really don't either. It's not a team that I look at as their fan base should expect them to have playoff aspirations. Utah can. Utah has a very good chance to. But I also think Anthony Richardson is that gifted that he makes them maybe a little bit more intriguing than what they are going to be in their totality this entire season. They don't have the offensive line to run it the way that Billy wants to run it. I do think the depth's a little bit off to where it has been in the past. And this sounds crazy because it's like saying LSU doesn't have DBs. I don't think the Florida skill is that great. Nyquan Wright was supposed to break out last year. We'll see if that happens this year. I think Trent Whittemore's solid at receiver, but they don't have the guys that we saw 2 years ago in the SEC championship game. Not even close. You already see what Damian Pierce is doing in the preseason in the NFL, blowing people up. So I would still go Florida-Utah because Florida gets them at home. The Swamp can be a weird place. I've said it a couple of times, Matt, the one thing Utah and Utah fans don't want is a rainstorm to roll through there about 45 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour before kick, and then the sun comes back out. Because if that happens, you might have an army truck of IVs that gets dumped on the Utah sideline.
It's harder to breathe in the altitude when you go out west, but it's harder to breathe with the humidity after a rainstorm in Gainesville for sure. Okay, is Arkansas an upset alert at home against Cincinnati?
Absolutely, because here's what's going to happen with Cincinnati. They're not going to have Desmond Ritter. They're not going to have Sauce Gardner. They're not going to have Jerome Ford. But Luke Fickell has recruited well, and I don't see Cincinnati as being a team that's going to come in and fumble the ball 2 or 3 times, throw 3 or 4 picks, have 8 or 9 penalties. Like, the operation of what they do is going to be solid. They're going to play as a team. Their units are going to operate the way that they're supposed to, and I think that they'll play their rear ends off. So if Arkansas goes into that game and by any shape, form, or fashion sort of sleepwalks through it, absolutely Cincinnati can get that game. So they do need to be careful. There's a lot to like about Arkansas. I don't think with that schedule they can get back to 9 or 10 wins, but they need those first 2 in a major way. 'Cause you start talking about Alabama at State and then turn around going to Provo right after that. I mean, that middle of that month of that season is an absolute death wish. So I think they've got to go out and find a way to get a couple of wins early. And here's the sad part about that. Like you said, let's say they beat Cincinnati, 21-14, 17-10, whatever. They're not going to get near enough credit that they deserve for that win because everybody's going to say, oh, look at the draft picks that are gone and they're not good anymore, which I just don't buy it. I think the way Luke Fickell coaches and manages his program, they're always going to be a tough out.
Cole, before you go, and I agree on Arkansas. I think that's a team that might be better, but the record maybe won't show it. All right, LSU, Florida State. Give me a breakdown of this game and what you expect to see.
I think LSU's defensive line will dominate up front. Now, I liked what I saw from Florida State's offensive line against Duquesne. I know who it's against, and it's not the fact that they push guys around, but there seemed to be a little more harmony with how that O-line was working together. And you have to like their backs. Number 3, it looks like Walter Payton out there running sometimes. I mean, it was ridiculous. Now, again, I know who it's against. I think the playmakers on the perimeter will show up for LSU. The thing that I'm most interested in LSU is flat out the run game. And that includes the O-line, that includes the backs, that includes how it looks, how complex and diverse it is. That's my biggest sort of want to see from LSU in that game. But I still think there's enough on the back end as the second level defensively to cause problems for Jordan Travis. And I ain't going to believe that Florida State's offensive line is just all of a sudden good until I see it. And that will be a legitimate test against Dolly Gay and Olajari and Mason Smith and company come Sunday night.
Do you think LSU wins it and starts 1-0?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Unless they get a quarterback that throws 4 or 5 picks,
Yeah.
obviously you're not going to win that way. But I think when you line those two teams up, what they have coming back, I absolutely think LSU should win that game.
He is Cole Cubelic. Follow him on Twitter at Cole Cubelic. What game do you have, by the way?
I've got Ball State at Tennessee Thursday night.
It'll be a Thursday.
Network, and then Utah State at Alabama Saturday night.
Nice.
So we'll be on both of those.
All right,
I have a quick question for
Yeah.
you if we have time.
Yeah, for sure.
I got some 7, 8, 9-year-old kids in my front yard that have set up a lemonade stand on my corner. Should I tax those children for setting that lemonade stand up in my yard?
No, I think you have to commend, at this age, you have to commend their entrepreneurial spirit. I think you go buy lemonade from them is what you do.
Oh no, I'm going to teach them about taxes and then hand them like a $20 bill because the kid's he wants for his 7th birthday to go to some like indoor skydiving place in Atlanta, and it's like $600. So probably not going to get there anyway. But hey, listen, go for the gusto, kid. Like I commend you trying it.
Bro, I think for my 6th birthday, we went to the bowling alley. I think we
went to putt-putt and got one sleeve of tokens, and that was it. You were done after that.
You better hit big on skee ball, brother. All right, Cole Cubelic. Dude, we're so fired up to have you back again this fall, man. Thanks for the time. Have a great weekend.
Absolutely. We'll catch up next week.
All right, that's Cole Cubelic. This is After Further Review. Our chats with Cole are brought to you by Roosters, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. Of course, you got in town center near actually Don Juan, our home for whiskey and wine, and then Old Perkins in the southeast part of the parish. It's directly across from Blue Bayou. If you take the Highland exit, you turn on Old Perkins. I mean, it's in that strip center right in front of Alexander's, close to Blue Bayou. It's incredible. I'm telling you, go do the hot towel shave, the straight edge shave. It's you'll fall asleep in the chair. It's so worth it. We appreciate Roosters and for having a sense of humor for sponsoring a segment with 2 ball guys. All right, it's After Further Review. We are going to get to tons of more of what Brian Kelly had to say throughout the show. Let me knock out a quick break. I do want to pivot, talk a little bit more Saints. They've cut Abram Smith, who was one of the guys I was pulling for, but it didn't really work out. So I got some thoughts on that. We return, and you'll hear from Dennis Allen. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Y'all, fall is here. It is time. That fall vegetable garden, the fall bedding plants, if you want them, this is the time to plant them. They've got the plants. They've got the seeds. Get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations, Siegen near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. You know where the Clegg's Nursery locations are. They've got full greenhouses, Johnny Naylor's seeds. They got you covered. And if you are a deer hunter at Clegg's, they've got Buckbusters. They've got Mo Bucks. They've got deer corn. They've got all the rice brand stuff that I don't know how to pronounce that you need if you're a deer hunter. They got it all at Clegg's. So support a great local business that supported our communities for 6 decades. That's Clegg's Nursery, and they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of OC Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of OC Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Football season is finally here. Don't forget to make your picks for this weekend's games at the 2022 1045 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em at 1045ESPN.com. Weekly winners will receive a $50 Twin Peaks gift card, and the first place season-long champion will receive a 75-inch 4K flat-screen TV. It's the 2022 1045 ESPN Twin Peaks College Football Pick'em. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
Dennis Allen, after the Saints beat the Chargers on Friday, was asked about getting the roster down to 53. Here's what he said.
Well, a lot of tough decisions. You know, I think by Tuesday at 3 o'clock our time, I think it is, we've got to, get down to 53 players on the roster. And so, look, we're going to go back. We're going to evaluate this tape. There'll be a lot of meetings, a lot of discussions to make sure we're keeping the right 53 for the New Orleans Saints and what we feel like gives us the best opportunity to win.
Well, apparently one of those 53 will not be running back Abram Smith. Aaron Wilson, the first to have it. Nick Underhill tweeted it as well on Sunday that Abram Smith, the running back from Baylor, was waived by New Orleans. So the process will be if no team puts in a waiver claim, the Saints could then re-sign him to the practice squad. Remember, if a player is on the practice squad, he's unprotected. He could be signed to any team's active roster at any point, but teams can't sign a player only to their practice squad from another team's practice squad, so they'd have to sign him to the active roster. Considering his production or lack thereof throughout camp, my assumption is that Abram Smith is probably going to be safe and that the Saints will be able to retain him and sign him to the practice squad. At least I'm hopeful that's the case. We all know the story. He was a 1,600-yard rusher at Baylor last year. As a junior, they converted him to linebacker because they had a need. So you're talking about a super athlete, a guy that many thought would get picked. He went undrafted. The Saints paid him a lot of money, paid him 6 figures as an undrafted free agent, which is unheard of, to convince him to sign with the Saints. That's how much they believed in the player, which is why a lot of us got excited, me included, and my hands in the air. And leading up to the draft, running back was a big position of need that I know I focused on a lot because I'm not convinced that Mark Ingram has much left in the tank. Alvin Kamara, we're assuming was going to face a suspension and that you were going to need running back depth. We've been through this a bunch. It's why we've talked about running back so much throughout this whole offseason and throughout camp, and why we looked at basically every guy from Sony Michel, all the way through all the Tariq Cohen, who had the unfortunate injury. We talked about Darrell Williams. David Johnson. We've been through all of them. Which guy might be a fit for the Saints, and they've been very patient and didn't go and add anybody. Of course, they've got Dwayne Washington, who they like a lot as a special teamer, Tony Jones Jr., who had a pretty good camp. But then he did last year as well. And when he had his opportunity in game situations, the production wasn't there. So I'm hopeful for Abram Smith's future. Maybe this is just part of me which is buried in my mind because I've seen Pierre Thomas and Chris Ivory and Kyrie Robinson. I mean, the Saints have kind of always done this, haven't they? They found that undrafted free agent running back diamond in the rough that's become a really productive NFL player. And maybe I was assuming that Abram Smith could be the next one, and maybe still will be at some point. It just doesn't look like it's going to be right now as he's been waived. Last week, we talked a good bit about Kenyon Drake. And the Raiders, look, Kenyon Drake has been a productive back when he's been healthy. And the Raiders cut him last week. He's a guy that Raiders drafted 2 backs. They signed a couple of free agents. It was just very clear. Josh McDaniels coming in, brought his own guys. And I thought Kenyon Drake handled it like a pro, the way that he did publicly in his interviews and saying, look, they had their guys. It's a business. We'll move on. And I said, look, Kenyon Drake for the Saints makes a lot of sense. Went through the whole list of why Kenyon Drake with the Saints made a lot of sense. But one of the guys that the Saints publicly did pursue early, brought in for a workout and were prepared to make a contract offer to, was Sony Michel. If you remember this, Saints brought in Sony Michel, and he ultimately made the decision to sign with the Miami Dolphins. At the time, we said it didn't really make a lot of sense. Competitively, financially, depth chart, it just didn't make sense to go to Miami, except that Sony Michel is from Miami. He was basically signing with the Dolphins and going to go play 15 minutes from where he grew up. So that part of it made a lot of sense. Nothing else in the Michel to Miami made a lot of sense. I only bring that up right now because just minutes ago, Field Yates tweeted, the Dolphins have released Sony Michel. So his stint there in Miami was short-lived. They signed him to a 1-year, $1.6 million contract. $500,000 of that was guaranteed. Sony Michel did get a $350,000 signing bonus. And the way they structured his deal was that he was going to get a $240,000 per game roster bonus. So for every game he was on the roster, they'd give him another $240K. So his contract was going to become valuable if he made the team and played more. In the end, basically got a $350,000 signing bonus of the $500K guaranteed. So he's going to get $500,000 for about a month's work in Miami. And now, Sony Michel is going to be looking for a new team. And I think the Saints have got to revisit this. Sony Michel was just on the Super Bowl champions with the Los Angeles Rams. We understand the depth they have at running back, and of course with Cam Akers there. When Akers was hurt, Michel really filled that void. When Akers came back, his role diminished. But for Sony Michel at this point in his career, a former first-round pick out of Georgia, of the New England Patriots, was there for 3 years. It didn't work out. He had 2 productive years. In his first 2 years, he went over 200 carries each of his first 2 years in the league. And then, had the COVID year, of course, only played 9 games that season for New England. And then they shipped him out to L.A. And he played in all 17 games this year, primarily in a backup role, except for when they had the injury to Akers. He became the starter, had over 200 rushing attempts. You're still talking about a young guy in his physical prime, in his 20s, who has been a starter, who's filled in a backup role as a reserve, who has been a good pass catcher at times. Last year with the Rams, again in a reserve role, caught 21 balls out of the backfield. So when they wanted to throw to the back out of the backfield, he was able to do that. As much as I was excited about the possibility of Kenyon Drake, I'm way more excited about the possibility of the Saints revisiting Sony Michel. And this is why whenever we talk about, Michel's 27 years old, but this is when we talk about, the final 53, when the rosters are set, it's never the final 53. It's always the first 53, because you set your 53-man roster, and then you look at who else got cut and who may be a better option on your roster than a guy you have. So if you gave me the option today of taking Sony Michel as my number 2 back or Mark Ingram, I'm taking Sony Michel. I'm taking the guy who's 5 years younger, who's got way more tread on the tire, and who's a little bit more dynamic of a runner and pass catcher. So And also, a year ago, in a pinch, when their stud young guy, Cam Akers, got hurt, Sony Michel stepped up and stepped into that starter role and performed. So, if you do end up in a situation with Alvin Kamara where he ends up suspended, Sony Michel would essentially be in the same situation he was a year ago. So, I don't know what the Saints are going to do. I'm bummed the Abram Smith situation didn't work out throughout camp. That happens. You took a flyer on a guy that you were bullish on, and maybe he will still be able to continue to develop throughout his career. But if you put all these guys on a list, you have Alvin Kamara, then it's Mark Ingram, Sony Michel, Kenyon Drake, Abram Smith, Tony Jones Jr., Dwayne Washington. Just fill out the list. Say, which one would you take as your number two? Of all of those, I would take Sony Michel without hesitation. We know that they can make the money work. And you don't have to give up an asset to get him. That needs to be your first call right now. You already had him in the building. He knows you like him. You already worked him out. He knows the situation. He knows the offense. This feels like a no-brainer to me. The Saints could very well be hunting a running back, and Sony Michel's back on the market. We'll see if the Saints might get in the mix for that ASAP. I would strongly endorse that decision if they do. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. That's southpointvw.com. I tell you every day, new and certified pre-owned. So if you're not looking for a new vehicle, but a certified pre-owned, all different makes and models, trucks, SUVs, even they've got them at South Point Volkswagen. Go see Kerry Manuel, the pre-owned GM over at South Point Volkswagen. Or if you're looking for a brand new Volkswagen, South Point has inventory, and if it's not on the lot, they can find it for you. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, been a really, really busy 90 minutes so far. We got another hour and a half still to go. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. On the Bayou Ford YouTube channel, we appreciate that. Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Please smash the like button and subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That's where all of our shows go live every day. And, of course, all of our specialty shows as well. You'll see Eagle 98.1 Game Day on our YouTube channel live. Of course, Whiskey and Wine post-game will be there. Scone and Tea on Wednesdays. So we appreciate you for watching on YouTube. If you're there, take a quick second, smash that like button, and subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. All right, quick break from the Saints running back situation to the Tigers running back situation. John Emery did speak with reporters at an event at Raising Cane's in Baton Rouge over the weekend. I'll let you hear what John Emery had to say about his status, and Brian Kelly was asked about it again at his press conference today. Talk about the LSU running game when we return on AFR.
AFR.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Hi, Muse, can you give me a poll question update, please?
Which one?
Oh, yeah, we have two.
We have two.
Wait. There was the Desmond. What was the other? Oh, Vandy. Is Vandy
Vanderbilt good?
Wait, do we say is Vandy good or is Vandy?
I said, is Vanderbilt football good?
Okay, because I think I asked, are they good or are they respectable? Okay, let's see both. Hit me with it.
Okay, well, today's Citizens Bank poll of the day is Desmond Howard trolling us with his college football playoff prediction.
Okay.
76.3% say yes.
Yeah, right. I mean, so you and Paulie disagreed. I think you said no. Paulie said yes. I'm going to say, I think I said yes, didn't I?
Yes, you said yes.
Yeah, because there's no way that he actually believes that he's doing it to get attention. And like I said earlier, I'm okay with a one-off if you want to take your shot. Taking a shot on all four is a bit ridiculous. Let me ask you, of the four, which do you think is most likely to make the playoff?
Michigan.
I'd say Baylor.
That's an interesting one.
I'd say Baylor because I think they can win their league. I don't think Michigan can beat Ohio State. I think Ohio State's winning that league this year. So
it would make sense. It would make sense. Look at Michigan. We're there last year.
And I think Pitt, I think, is a ridiculous.
Pitt is like,
call. I mean,
maybe the fifth best team in the ACC.
That's a challenge to get there on Pitt. I mean, if you're looking for a dark horse ACC, I cannot believe we're talking anything ACC. But if you were looking for a dark horse ACC, I would tell you NC State.
Yes, 100%.
would be the dark horse. Clemson, of course, is still the prohibitive favorite. Anyway, okay, so that's enough about the ACC. I can't believe we spent that much time or even mentioned the ACC at all. But yes, I would say if there was one of Desmond's four that I would say had a shot, the best shot, I would tell you I think is Baylor out of the Big 12. Okay, other question.
Is Vanderbilt football good? 85% say no.
Oh, my God, Vandy. Okay. I'm going to tell you, did you watch?
I did. Had a -9,
okay.
So.
How much? Yes. I texted Otter. I said, hey, I texted Otter on Saturday. And I said, hey, I listened to your show all week. it felt like there was no consensus on the Vanderbilt game. Did I miss it? Like I was curious, all the different people he had on all week. And some said, Timmy Chang, Vandy stinks, going, out different time zones, whatever. Then it was like, well, Hawaii's turning over 51 players, yada, yada, whatever. And Otter, in so many words, said, take Vandy. Okay. Rocking chair.
Yeah.
At about midnight, I texted him a GIF of from, I think, Once Upon a Time in the West of a cowboy in a rocking chair just rocking back and forth with his hat down low. He liked that one. He was still up. Replied immediately. Of course he was. I think Vanderbilt. How much football did you watch this weekend?
A good bit. I mean, it's all I did on Saturday. I didn't do anything else.
It's funny because I think a lot of people thought the idea of watching football was great, and then you saw the quality of the games and tapped out. I watched it all. I watched the whole Northwestern Nebraska game. I watched the whole.
Entertaining game.
Didn't someone ask me on Friday, over under number of plays of Florida State Duquesne you'd watch? I said I'm watching the whole thing. Watched the whole thing, every snap of that entire game. One, I also had Duquesne plus 42. So
that hit. There you go.
It kept me engaged to the very end. But
did you freak out when the guy fell down returning the interception?
Yes. If you go look at my Twitter, you will go to my Twitter. It says, if the turf monster costs me a cover, I'm going to be pissed. And, of course, they hit the touchdown a couple of plays later, but they also missed a field goal in that game.
They did.
So, all's well that ends well. And I watched Vanderbilt until it was after midnight, but when it got to 56-7, I tapped out. Vanderbilt's
I'm
good.
going to bed.
Vanderbilt's good. If you have Vanderbilt, are you one that has the over on Vandy's win total?
I don't. I didn't think they'd get there. I'm still iffy on it. I think Hawaii stinks. I think they are terrible.
They'll beat Elon this week.
Of course.
They will. I'll even make this prediction. Vanderbilt will win an SEC game this year. They will.
Ooh, okay.
They will play their best game of the season at some point and win a game. It's like everybody I say this all the time, but everybody during the season, at some point, you're going to play your best game, and you're also going to play your worst game. You hope that your best game comes against someone real good, like A&M last year against Bama. It was their best game of the year. Came against a really good team. You caught them on a day where they weren't their best, and you beat them. That happens. The opposite is also true. You will play your worst game of the season. You just hope your worst game of the season comes at a time where you can still win the game. Vanderbilt is going to play its best game of the season somewhere along the way, and they're going to win an SEC game. I don't know who, but that's bold prediction. Mark it down. 442. Vanderbilt is going to win an SEC game this year. They're competent. Mike Wright is a really good player.
He's impressive.
He's very athletic. That 87-yard touchdown, 81-yard touchdown, whatever it was. I mean, boom. He hit the edge. He was gone. Dusted the whole Hawaii defense. I get it's Hawaii, but they're competent. Vanderbilt is competent. They got a good offensive line. They've got, God bless him, Anthony Orji. How much fun did the announcers have saying that name the whole game? But I
forgot about him again until they said it, and I was like, oh no.
He was at media day.
I know.
They will. They're going to win an SEC game. They're more than competent. They're going to beat Elon this weekend, and I think they'll have a great shot to beat Northern Illinois as well.
That one's going to be interesting, I think.
I can't believe they're going to Northern Illinois, which is so stupid. But anyway, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is going to win an SEC game. I was going to talk about John Emery here. My goodness, I went long. I'm sorry. We got sidetracked. Let me remind you about Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. You know the drill. Get on by Shaw Bills or get to the website. You can schedule service. You can shop tires online. Shaw Bills is just fantastic, man. They treat you like family. I know one of the big concerns, it always is for me, I'm not a handyman. I'm not I can't fix things. So a lot of times when it comes to to auto repair shops, you wonder if people are treating you right. The thing that's the most comforting about Shaw Bills is, they've been in business for more than 50 years. Look at the Charlie's Dozen. It's the best menu of services offered to people who buy tires from them. Why their employees stay for so long. They're just amazing, ethical people that have a family-owned business, have had the family-owned business for more than 50 years. So you can schedule service online or buy tires at ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, I'm late. I don't have a lot of time to spend on this, but John Emery, so Raising Cane's did an NIL thing this weekend where they had some of the players They worked at Canes for a day. And you've seen that sometimes when guys win championships or whatever. I think that happened at Georgia. Maybe Stetson Bennett worked at Canes drive-through. I love that they do that. I think it's really cool. Well, they also made the players who were there available for interviews. One of them was John Emery, and I believe it was WAFB who caught up with John Emery and asked him about his status.
It is frustrating at all the hard work I've been putting in during school. My GPA 3.8 or 9, so yeah, it's frustrating, but like I said, I'm gonna keep going. I won't let it stop me. No matter what I go through, I still have the opportunity. So I have 10 games I can play in. So I'm just ready for the season to start.
Certainly sounds like a guy who's conceding he's not going to play in the first 2 games. That he's got 10 games that he'll be able to play. But the best part of that is that he said he's got a 3.839. I mean, so the flip side of it is, bleep the NCAA. The kid's doing everything he should be doing right now. He's got good grades, and you're gonna hold him out for another 2 games after he already missed an entire season. But the flip side of it is, good for John Emery. He's got things on the right path, and he's going to graduate, and that's awesome. And hopefully we get to see him for a full 10 games once he serves these 2-game suspension, which is absurd. Maybe there's something the NCAA can do and intervene, they expedited the Brew McCoy thing at Tennessee and got him immediately eligible. Maybe LSU can pull a rabbit out of the hat here with John Emery in the final week, but certainly doesn't sound like they'll have their running back the first 2 games. All right, it's after further review. We're not going to break. Muse will have Tigers in the pros. And then to start hour number 3, Brian Kelly really went deep into his knowledge of Florida State, his familiarity with them, the advantage of playing versus not playing. We're going to get to all of that in about 15 minutes. Glad you're with us here on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. Tell you every day, better coverage for less money. This process is so easy. It's so easy. Log on to the website at lainsurance.net. They're closed right now, so log on to the website, lainsurance.net. Right at the top of the page, you'll see where it says quotes. Just tap the quotes button, fill out a little bit of information, and when they get into the office, they'll get working. They're going to go shop. They have relationships with dozens of the top-rated companies in the world to get you better coverage for less money. It's not a gimmick. It's not a ploy. There's no fine print. It's that easy. So many of us were just I was in that number. I just didn't know. You just have insurance with the big company that you've had forever, but you're probably overpaying and underinsured. Let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop for free. 293-0450.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
A little breaking news from Adam Schefter, those following the NFL and the goings-on there. The San Francisco 49ers have agreed with Jimmy Garoppolo to a restructured one-year contract. So Jimmy G is staying in San Francisco. The contract contains no trade clause, no tag clause, so that assures Garoppolo will be in San Francisco this season, and then we'll have the freedom to leave in 2023. So no great circumstance obviously arose for the 49ers to trade Garoppolo, so he'll stay there in 2022, ride the bench behind Trey Lance, and then likely have a new home in 2023. All right, Musso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
Just 2 preseason games in the NFL yesterday to wrap up the slate. The New York Jets were one of them. Quan Alexander, of course, now a member of the New York Jets, saw some time, 2 tackles, one of them solo. The solo was an absolute hit stick from Quan Alexander. The New York Jets finished the preseason 3-0 this year.
I think they were 4-0 last year.
Oh.
Dude, here's the hit.
I mean,
blew
the man up.
Who is the running back? Who is the running back?
I'm actually not. Is that 25?
I don't know.
I don't know. Whoever it is, I mean, Quan showed absolutely no mercy. Just completely hit stick the guy.
That was brutal.
It was good. I liked it.
It was beautiful.
Jake Fraley yesterday for the Cincinnati Reds.
21.
21?
All right, I'm going to look up 21 for the Giants.
Look up, yeah. Jake Fraley, 1 for 2 in a pinch hit role yesterday for the Reds in their loss to the Nats. It was a single. Fraley, 242, just continues to be hot after the stint on the IL. Alex Bregman yesterday, 1 for 2 in the Astros victory. It was his 20th home run of the season. Bregman scored 2 runs in the game, drove in 1 as well, and walked twice. He's up to 269, 20 homers, 76 RBI.
Running back was Antonio Williams. Second-year player out of North Carolina.
I was going to ask if he was a rookie, because if he was, it was going to be one of those, hey, welcome to the NFL moments.
Second-year player out of UNC. Well, he blew him up. That's like the guy exploded. Just when your arms flail and you let go of the ball. I mean, it's not like the ball squirted out. I mean, like his arms flailed and the ball just flew.
He was like a wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man right there. It was good stuff. Good stuff.
I miss Jacked Up. And what was the NFL films big hits? What was it called? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going there.
They used to have like a highlight film that they would put out on VHS of the big hits that year in the NFL.
Oh, okay. Speaking of things that need to be brought back, put that on like Amazon.
Well, they can't anymore.
Put it on like
Amazon.
Amazon.
Like because it's all like
it's
CTE and everything. That's why they stopped doing it.
There's no big hits.
NFL's greatest hits. That's what it was.
That's great. Okay. Alex Lang yesterday.
So simple.
but it's awesome. Alex Lang yesterday, rough outing for our guy Langer. 3 earned runs given up in an inning. Did strike out 2 of the 3. 26 pitches, 17 of them for strikes. And then Sam Burns wrapped up his PGA Tour season yesterday in the Tour Championship. A 2-under final round, finished at 7 under for the tournament. In solo 24th, Sam Burns. Really solid year. 3 wins, 8 top 10s. The PGA Tour season starts in 17 days. That's Tigers and the Pros.
What a hell of an offseason.
There it is,
You
man.
got 2 weeks, brother.
Get to the beach. Do something.
Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com, where Baton Rouge goes to get engaged and has for 40 years. Learn more at LMFJ.com, where you'll always get a gorgeous diamond, sure to thrill her and make you a hero, and you always get the Lee Michaels experience. LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Cole Cubelic was with us to start hour number 2. If you missed it, you can go catch that on demand. Of course, AFR on demand presented by Brett Golf. Coming up right after the top of the hour, we will let you hear tons of what Brian Kelly had to say to kick off Florida State week, including specifics about the Seminoles and, of course, the advantage of them playing this week.
AFR.
As we put a button here on hour number 2, I want to remind you about the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette. Online at theantiagingclinics.com. Summer has come and gone. A lot of us are getting back into the routine of life, and that means a lot of things. It means kids going to school. That means shuttling kids around to practice or other extracurriculars, whatever it may be. And sometimes we get worn down. If you feel old, if you feel tired, regardless of what the number by your age says, do what I've encouraged you to do for years. Go to the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Meet with Dr. Todd Howell. A simple blood test can let you know if you're a candidate for HRT. Y'all, it is affordable. It is safe. You're under the watchful eye of a medical doctor, and you could feel like your younger self again. Learn more online. theantiagingclinics.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All Star Toyota today.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Jimmy G's not going anywhere. ESPN's Adam Schefter's reporting quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers agreed to a restructured one-year contract that keeps him in San Francisco this season. The contract contains no trade and no tag clauses. He'll be the number 2 QB behind Trey Lance. He will have the freedom to leave in 2023. This first day of the U.S. Open is a big one. Serena Williams tonight begins the final major of her tennis career before retirement with an opening round matchup against Danka Kovinic. The early round matchups are favorable for Serena, a 23-time Grand Slam champ, to be successful, notes ESPN tennis analyst James Blake.
It is a great opportunity for her, just straight by the book of a match up for her to get started in this event. Kovinic is about who you would handpick for her to play in this first round, and then possibly Kontaveit in the second round, someone that really has not had a very successful summer either. We can dream.
First round coverage of Serena's match tonight in 1 hour ESPN TV. Dodgers put righty Tony Gonsolin on the injured list with a right forearm strain.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate that.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Monday of game week. Fired up for it. Watched a lot of college football this weekend. Brian Kelly met with reporters earlier today. We're running through a lot of what the coach had to say, along with Mike Norvell. Thanks, Mish. You can take that out. Cole Cubelic was here last hour. If you missed it, you can check it out on demand at 1045ESPN.com. One of the really interesting dynamics, in my opinion, of this game with LSU and Florida State is the familiarity. LSU and Florida State, not so much. They've played 9 times in history. Florida State leads the series 7-2. Of course, LSU's maybe most famous win over Florida State came back in 1982 when LSU blew out Florida State and fans pelted the field with oranges, and LSU went on to the Orange Bowl that year in 1982. But by and large, when LSU was struggling in the 80s and 90s is when these two teams played more frequently. And Florida State, of course, was an emerging power in college football and had their way. I can remember vividly as a kid watching the 1991 game where LSU led early. They led 10. Todd Kinchin they had a big play to Todd Kinchin early in that ball game. Tigers got a turnover into a field goal. LSU led 10-0, and that didn't really go well after that. But there's a different feel. Again, LSU and Florida State, maybe not great history, certainly not recent history. They haven't played in 30 years. But Brian Kelly and Florida State have a lot of history. These two teams opened up against each other a year ago. Brian Kelly brought his last Notre Dame team into Florida State for a week 1 game that went to overtime. Notre Dame had a big lead, blew it. Florida State rallied, tied it, sent it to overtime, where Notre Dame ultimately won it. But Brian Kelly played against Mike Norvell each of the last 2 years. He's played Florida State 3 of the last 4 seasons. So he knows the players, the personnel, much of the coaching staff, certainly Mike Norvell well, and Norvell knows Kelly also. But here was Kelly today talking about leading his first LSU team to his first game as head coach of the Tigers.
For me, taking an LSU football team into its first week of preparation for a game against a really good Florida State team is one that I think there's around the office there's a heightened sense of excitement. Everybody is anticipating a great week, and our preparation has been one where certainly you want to see the culmination of your team come together and play outstanding football.
One of the things, T-Bob talked about this last week on Scone and T, and we kind of got into the conversation of, would you rather start with a tune-up game, or would you rather start with a really good opponent? There's two different schools of thought. Of course, if you're Florida State, you got the glorified dress rehearsal against Duquesne, which gets you kind of ready for this against LSU. The flip side of it is, and if you remember, look, LSU has done this quite often now, where they've opened up with big-time opponents. I mean, you can go back to, really, if you want to think about it, 2007, opened up on the road on a Thursday night against Mississippi State. It was a conference game. 2008, they opened up against Appalachian State, but then 2009, they opened up against Washington and Seattle. 2010, opened up in Atlanta against North Carolina. 2011, opened up in Dallas or Arlington against Oregon. That was a top 5 matchup. I mean, this has become a more regular thing for LSU to have the big marquee name brand opponent in the neutral site game or whatever it is to open up. Last year, of course, it was UCLA in the Rose Bowl. And the point that T-Bob made, and again, I would defer. I've never been in a locker room to know. I can ask these guys what their opinion is. But he said, I liked playing the big opponent. It kept you focused all throughout the offseason because you knew you had a big-time opponent, and it felt like every rep, every practice, everything mattered because of what was waiting for you week 1. Certainly that was the case when they played Oregon in 2011 and a lot of these other games, and I think is the case for this team as well. New era, new coach, big opponent. It all matters. I actually, but play number 13, Muse, if you would. Brian Kelly was asked about Florida State getting to play the tune-up game, though. And I thought his answer, he was pretty candid with his answer here.
I think there's some pluses and minuses there. Like I said, I think we've got the advantage that they don't have any film on us. You've got a new head coach. You've got new coordinators. That in itself, there's the uncertainty of them knowing what to expect. So there is a bit of a trade-off there.
So new coach, new coordinators, all that stuff. But specifically, I think the advantage for LSU is in Matt House. Here's what I mean. Florida State knows Brian Kelly's an offensive coach. Florida State knows what Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock want to do. You can go look at Cincinnati a year ago. Different players, to be sure, but alignment, you know what they are. You can go look at Brian Kelly's offenses. You played against them each of the last 2 years. You know what they are offensively. The big unknown that, in my opinion, is a benefit to LSU is Matt House. Matt House wasn't a coordinator in Kansas City. He hasn't been a coordinator since he was at Kentucky. Now, that was in the SEC. But if you're Florida State, you really don't know what Matt House's defense is going to look like. And Mike Norvell talked about that when he met with the media.
A little bit of unknown of exactly what the presentation of what they're going to do schematically. Defense coordinator Coach House, has been in NFL for the last few years. We've looked at everything through this offseason, whether it's going back to Kentucky film from 18-19, being able to go watch Kansas City, watching the Chiefs. I mean, trying to get a just as much broad perspective of what we could potentially see, but also in the fact of studying the personnel of guys that were there and then guys that came from other places.
You see how much Florida State has to work on with LSU? They got to go look at Oklahoma State film to look at Jarek Bernard-Converse. They got to go look at ULL film to look at Mekhi Gardner. They got to go look at McNeese film to look at Colby Richardson. They got to go look at Missouri film to look at Mekhi Wingo. They got to go look at Kentucky film from 2018 to try to have an idea of what Matt House is going to do as far as presentation. They got to look at Kansas City Chiefs film. Do you see the challenge? Like, that really is the challenge. And when you look at where LSU's inherent advantage lies in this matchup, by the way, it's the same for Florida State, where their matchup is. We'll get to that. The advantage for LSU is the LSU defensive line against that Florida State offensive front. I think Florida State has 3 really good running backs, y'all. One of the biggest takeaways watching that game Saturday against Duquesne, I get it. It's Duquesne. I get it. But fast is fast. Hard to bring down is hard to bring down. Power, speed, strength, all that. And that was on display with all 3 of those guys. And when you can rotate 3 competent running backs, you have fresh legs running at a defense that can wear down throughout a game. Like, that's a reality. But LSU's defensive front is an advantage over that Florida State offensive line. And now if Matt House is able to bring pressure and looks and disguises and blitzes and things that they don't know how it's coming or how it looks, there's a lot of modifying on the fly in game for Florida State. I'm telling you, that's the thing. And it was something that when I was asking a lot of coaches over the weekend about which advantage would you rather, playing the game or having the film to scout the team that played. And routinely, the answer that came back was Matt House. It's they don't know what he's going to do. And as a coach, that's unsettling because you want to feel like you're going in with a plan. You want as much information as possible to put together your plan. And Florida State don't have that. Now, the flip side's also true. Florida State's defensive front is really good, and LSU's offensive line is, I think they have really good players, a good starting 5, but you got dudes in new positions. You got a new quarterback working on a new cadence, a center that's never snapped the ball, a freshman left tackle. I mean, there's a lot of ifs. So in Tallahassee, they're having this conversation today as well, and they're right. But the other part of that, too, is the Matt House dynamic of this. I asked Brian Kelly about facing Florida State a year ago, and if going through game prep for Mike Norvell a year ago helps him this week going through game prep for Florida State this year.
I mean, there's a new offensive and defensive coordinator for me. You know, it's a whole new team. I don't know that it really helps as much as I can give and lend a little bit more, to our coordinators. I meet with our coordinators, daily, so I can give them a little bit of insight in terms of, what they're about and how they play the game and what they're looking to do on offense and defense. But that's about it. Other than that, this is a whole new operation for us relative to coordinators and the football team in itself.
You look for little small edges. And in a game where the line is around a field goal, some spots have it at 2.5 right now, LSU 2.5. Any little advantage here or there could be the difference in what is likely going to be a very close ball game. So you look for those, and each team has a little something to lean on after week 0. Florida State had the benefit of working out the kinks. LSU has the benefit of looking at game film to see how they might attack this team or defend this team. Ultimately, though, they'll go play it on Sunday. We'll get all these answers. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Glad to have you aboard with us here. I want to get to a lot of what Brian Kelly had to say. I did last hour want to talk more about LSU's running game and John Emery. Kind of ran out of time, so I do want to reset that as we get along here. And if you want to get in a call, text, email, tweet, you can do that. Email me, Matt at 1045ESPN.com. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona.
Hey, Twitter world.
You can jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube channel, the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, or you can text me anytime in the 225 at 396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. That's how you can get in on the text line. All right, it's after further review. We will continue. Stick around.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
This 5-star Zillow review reads, excellent, excellent, excellent realtor. He's been the #1 realtor in the state for years, and when you hire him, you'll immediately see why. Very knowledgeable, professional, communicates well. Our house was sold within 8 hours. We got a full price offer, and he helped us best negotiate repairs. Darren's team members are just as responsive and professional. Hire Darren James to sell your house, and you will not be disappointed. That's from the Jenks family, a 5-star review on Zillow of Darren James. You could listen to me say it forever. You could go read the reviews. The proof is in the numbers. Working with Darren James gets you results fast. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent 225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy.
It just takes some time, little girl, in a little out the right. Everything will be just fine. Everything will be alright.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So last hour, we did talk a little bit about the Saints left tackle situation with Trevor Penning being out and being injured, surgery on his toe. Looks like he's going to miss the majority, if not all, of the season. I didn't blow a gasket, however, because Dennis Allen seemed very confident that James Hurst will return. But we did go through other options because your depth now is severely lacking at left tackle. And my point essentially was, listen, there are options. There's Eric Fisher, who's out there. There's Darrell Williams. There are Daryl Richardson, excuse me. There are really good left tackle options. Alex Leatherwood could be released by the Raiders. So if you're out there looking for a left tackle that could potentially be a starter, you could give up an asset. But if you're just signing depth behind Hurst, then just wait for all the cutdowns, and then you'll be able to sign a good player that could be a backup left tackle for you. I got a text from Anthony Parker. Said, Matt, what's up? Love listening to the show. Just one quick question. Why do you keep calling James Hurst Alex Hurst? You did it on Morning Scone, too. Laughing emoji. Keep up the great work. So, if you don't remember, my apologies. If you don't remember, Alex Hurst was the right tackle for LSU in 2011 and then into 2012. And the week of the South Carolina game, when, if you remember, that was when Carolina had Jadeveon Clowney and Devin Taylor. Their bookends that were phenomenal. And LSU had a lot of injuries. I can't remember who would have been the starting left tackle at the time, but they went down. And Josh Dorosic had to kick out. Josh Dorosic was like a 6-year player with bionic knees at that time. And he kicked out and played left tackle and had to block Jadeveon Clowney. And then Hurst that week, Alex Hurst, left the team and went home. And LSU won a close game, and the line did great. Anyway, somebody asked me on Morning Scone this week, hey, whatever happened with Alex Hurst? Did we ever hear the story? And I think that planted the seed in my brain, because I haven't thought about it. I probably haven't thought about Alex Hurst in 10 years. But that planted the seed in my brain. So now instead of saying James Hurst, I've been saying Alex Hurst. So my apologies if you were here when I did that whole segment and called James Hurst Alex Hurst 100 times. But I will do my best to slow down, think, process, and not make the same mistake. By the way, last week, if you care, and judging by all of the social media interaction, I'm going to guess many of you do. Last week, there was a guy who covers Notre Dame who basically dumped on Brian Kelly and said he'll never win a national championship. That interview was on Crane and Company. That's our buddy Jake Crane, Blaine, David Cohn. I, of course, last week on the show talked about it. I did a full segment on why I think the guy is wrong and laid out my case and all that stuff. Well, Jake asked me back on Crane and Company today, and I did a 20-minute interview with the guys, and we talked plenty of LSU, Florida State, all that stuff, but we led the interview with the my rebuttal to the guy about Florida State. So if you're interested, you can go see it, any of the Crane and Company social media, on YouTube. The 2-minute, they took my 8-minute rant or explanation about Notre Dame and clipped it down to about 2 minutes. It's on their Twitter feed if you want to check it out, or I retweeted it as well. So if you're interested, you could find it there. I'll say this, and this was maybe, if you noticed this over the weekend, LSU tweeted a picture, and this is another reason why I'm supremely confident Brian Kelly is going to be able to win big. LSU tweeted a picture of, they were doing their team photo day, and they took a picture of just the players on the state from Louisiana. Just the players on the team from the state, from Louisiana. It's 59 players, y'all. There are 59 players from Louisiana on this LSU football team. So I quote tweeted it. I said, hey, you wonder why Brian Kelly came to LSU? This is one big reason. There are currently 8 players on the Notre Dame roster from the state of Indiana. There are 59 players on the LSU roster from Louisiana. That's the massive difference. Is right now, there are 3 players from Indiana in the top 300 in the 247 composite. There are 3 players from Louisiana in the top 50 in this class. Notre Dame has 3 top 300. Indiana has 3 top 300 players. Louisiana has 16 players in the top 300 this year. We all know this to be a fact because we have lived it for 20 years. We all now flippantly use the phrase, we'll put the fence around the state. That didn't exist before Nick Saban. The best players in Louisiana didn't stay. Peyton Manning went to Tennessee. Reggie Wayne went to Miami. Ed Reed went to Miami. Warwick Dunn went to Florida State. We could go on and on and on. You all know the list. The best players in the state didn't go to LSU. They left. Nick Saban came and put an end to that. The best players in the state stayed home, and the cornerstone of every national championship team since have been Louisiana players. You recruit the best players in the state, you will win at a high level. You will have a roster good enough to beat anybody in the country, and that has been the reality at LSU with Nick, with Les, with Ed. Get the best players to stay home. It's why Brian Kelly's here. It's the greatest competitive advantage is you can just recruit your state where these elite level prospects already want to play for you because it's the home state school. It's the advantage, the single greatest advantage. So you have that advantage and every resource that you need to win. Facilities, recruiting budget, nutrition hall, whatever, on-campus dorm, the athletic dorms at the east and west campus apartments. I mean, that's the difference. You have every resource, including the talent you need here. And then you take a great coach like Brian Kelly, who's got a proven, repeatable system where he's won many places. It makes sense why it will work. I can't tell you definitively that Brian Kelly's going to win a national championship, but I would say this. If you said, Matt, you have to take your entire net worth, bet everything you own, all of it, will Brian Kelly win a national championship at LSU? I would bet yes, without hesitation, because I've seen the last three guys do it. The system's there, and he's a better coach than the last two guys. So, yeah, I think they will at some point. It's not going to be this year. I don't think it'll be next year. But if he stockpiles talent the way that he's already showing he can do, and the way we've seen LSU in the past do, then yeah, I think they'll get there. Again, under Brian Kelly, like they have with the last three coaches. I know it was a little bit of a random tangent, but I felt like it was necessary because I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised because so many people have just been fixated on this Notre Dame conversation. And I get why Notre Dame fans aren't pulling for Brian Kelly. I get it. I mean, I use this example on the Crane and Company interview, but it's like if someone breaks up with you. If your significant other dumps you, you're not pulling for your significant other. You want to do better than them to show they made a mistake. Notre Dame's not pulling for Brian Kelly. They're the jilted lover, and it's a situation they're not familiar with. They haven't been in their history. So I get why there's a lot of venom being spewed from South Bend down here. I get why that's happening. I'm just trying to reinforce to LSU fans, like, you deflecting that isn't homerism, that's reality. The thing that they don't understand is the thing I just explained. They'll call Brian Kelly a lazy recruiter. They'll say he wasn't a great big game coach. They blame everything except their own internal issues, which have prevented any coach from winning for the last 34 years. Ain't just Brian Kelly. What happened when Charlie Weiss went to the Fiesta Bowl in 2005? Got rocked by Ohio State. A year later, went to the Sugar Bowl against LSU. How did that turn out? Go back to Bob Davie in the year 2000. They had a 9-2 season, got into the Fiesta Bowl, played Oregon State. Chad Johnson, TJ Husmadilla. How did that go? Got their doors blown off. I know, I was there. Like, Notre Dame hasn't had a roster that's able to compete for a national championship. I'm not saying be good, win a lot of games. I'm saying be good enough to beat any of the top four teams in America. They haven't had a roster that good in 30 years, y'all. And it's their own fault. And Brian Kelly was fighting against that. And he won't have to fight against it here. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans. You know where to find them. GMFS Mortgage and gmfsmortgage.com. Get to the website. Tap the loan officers tab. They got offices all over Louisiana. So if you're buying, building, refinancing, first start by getting in touch with a great local loan officer. There's so many of them all over the state. Just go to the website, type in your zip code, and you'll find a loan officer nearest you. Get in touch with them. Let them help you on that process. GMFS Mortgage, they want to be your lender for life. They can help. GMFS Mortgage and gmfsmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. It's been a really, really busy day. Tomorrow, by the time we're on air, the Saints are going to have cut their roster down to 53. So we'll have a much better sense of what the Saints' final roster is going to look like. And I'll remind you, it's not the final 53, it's the first 53, because inevitably, once the cuts happen tomorrow, the Saints and every other team will look around the NFL at who's available, and they will make subsequent moves to bring in people that they need, most notably, I'm assuming, at running back and at left tackle. So tomorrow is going to be a very, very, very busy day. As far as LSU, tomorrow is essentially Monday. The guys had the day off today. They basically treated today like Sunday because they're playing on a Sunday, so everything just moved a day. They'll practice sort of in a walkthrough way tomorrow, and then on Wednesday will be their full pads, really intense day, and then they taper down till they get toward the game on Sunday. One of the things Brian Kelly did tell us today that he does that's interesting is for night games, he brings his team into the stadium for a workout in the morning when they have a night game. He doesn't want his teams cooped up in the hotel all day. So on Sunday, the team will go to the Superdome Sunday morning and have a light workout and then shower and go back to the hotel and relax for the rest of the day and then come back for the game. He said that's his process. He'll do the same thing for home games. So when LSU plays night games in Tiger Stadium, they will come to the stadium Saturday morning, have a walkthrough workout, kind of, build up a lather, and then go back to the hotel, relax, and come back for a night kickoff. So just some other things that we're getting used to as the schedule all changes. The way things go about they go at doing are changing under Brian Kelly. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, there's still a bunch that Brian Kelly said I want to revisit. He did name a starting offensive line. He did name his starting place kicker. Two of the most giant questions that this team has. What did Brian Kelly say about it? Also, he gave you updated status on guys like Malik Neighbors. He was asked about John Emery, some others that we'll get to as well. Man, it's still a ton to do, and glad you're with us. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org. Tell you every day they're expanding healthcare in the Baton Rouge area, brgeneral.org. Part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. What that means for you is your physician here in Baton Rouge has access to the world-renowned physicians and research at the Mayo Clinic. It's clinical collaboration benefiting you at no extra cost to you. That's what it means to be part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. You can learn more at brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org, and you can find a list of all of their services. If it's the Pennington Cancer Center, their emergency care, the Heart and Vascular Center. Of course, tell you all the time you can deliver your baby at the Baton Rouge General. If you need surgery or primary care, they have it all at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Express care locations as well, like we always talk about. Walk-in urgent care 7 days a week all over town. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital. Learn more at brgeneral.org for the Baton Rouge General Hospital.
I am Juliette, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis, but I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
ITI's got all these programs. Once I started and learned everything about the school, it was worth it.
The challenges that ITI presented me with, it allowed me to build myself up.
All because of ITI, I actually was able to get a job within 3 months before graduation in my field.
Get the hands-on training you need for the job you've always wanted. With so many companies hiring right now, it's the perfect time to come to ITI Technical College. Enroll today for a better life.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Check out dropbiscuit.com and browse our growing library. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to Pops, Fame, You Talking to Me, For the People, Well Stated, or whatever your southern flavored audio biscuit you fancy. That's dropbiscuit.com.
Pops, huh?
Yeah, Pops. It's the Louis Armstrong story.
Oh.
Reno Wilson hosts it. Stars in it, I should say.
Never heard of that. Sounds good. Maybe I'll check it out.
Do that. Report back, please.
Be happy to tell you about that. By the way, I probably should have been resetting the biggest story of the day all day. We, of course, led the show with it, and on me for not resetting. Can you play number 4, Muse? I realize it's 5:30. A lot of you are getting off of work, driving home, and maybe you're just turning on the radio for the first time today. Brian Kelly, at his press conference today, of course, was asked about the quarterback battle. Here's what he said.
We've made a decision, but I'm not going to announce it publicly. And again, this is for the certainly I think everybody here wants to know who the quarterback is. I get that. But I think it's a tactical advantage for us not to announce it. So I'm going to hold that announcement because I think it gives us a tactical advantage for not playing. Look, Florida State played a game. That's an advantage for them, having the opportunity to play. The advantage for us is that we haven't played. And so it doesn't help us to give up any of our cards in that sense. So we're going to hold on to that card until game day.
Don't blame him. If he feels like that's an advantage that he has in this situation, you roll with it. LSU certainly has questions, primary among them, place kicker and offensive line. Brian Kelly was confident enough to name a place kicker today.
Yeah, I think Damian Ramos is going to start at the field goal position and extra point. And I think we're still in the process of making a decision on kickoffs. It's extremely competitive there. We feel like that decision is probably going to be made here in the next 24 to 48 hours.
So Damian Ramos is going to be the place kicker. And he easily has the biggest leg. Just because you have the biggest leg doesn't mean you're always going to hit it straight. And there's no way, as best you try to simulate in practice, that you can actually simulate what it's going to be like in a game. One of the questions I asked Brian Kelly today is, does that change your strategy? Because, look, a year ago, if LSU got inside the 40, put it on the board. You knew you had points. Cade York, you had points if you got inside the 40. That's not exactly the case. Not the case at all. Anyway, did y'all see the video of Cade York making a 70-yarder pregame? I mean, dude's a freak show. You don't have that guy this year. So I asked Brian Kelly if that alters your strategy. I thought his answer was interesting.
When we make a decision on the kicker, we're all in. You know, we're all in on we're not going to change the way we operate the game and protect anybody. We're going to, look, I like to use analytics in the game. We'll have somebody with an analytic book just so everybody knows. So when we second guess the head coach later, you guys can, and that's your opportunity. And you're right to do that. But I use the book, and sometimes I use my gut. And answering the question is that you can't do that and then go away from it when you have a kicker out there and you're afraid of him. You got to let him kick.
I love the end of that. You can't be afraid of him. You got to let him kick. I love that. And I think at times, the last time LSU had this issue with the place kicker was 2017. And at times that year, Ed was stuck between a rock and a hard place because he didn't know if he was going to run Jack Gonsolin out there. He didn't know if he was going to run Connor Culp out there. Wasn't sure. Field goals were a 50-50 proposition that year, y'all. And there were times you don't feel good about your kicker, you go for it, right? It don't sound like that's how Brian Kelly's going to roll. Maybe that evolves as the season goes along, but I love that part. You can't be afraid of your kicker. If he's your guy, roll with him. And I think Damian Ramos is, for me, as big a question mark as I'm watching this weekend as anybody on the LSU team. I do not think that's hyperbole. If you are going to play, and LSU likely will, if you are going to be playing in close games throughout the year, you've got to have a good kicker. There's going to be opportunities where you have to have Cole Tracy hit the walk-off against Auburn. You got to have Cade York hit the game winner in the fog against Florida. Go back to 2014. Colby Delahousse against Florida in the swamp, the game winner. That's going to happen. It's going to happen this year. You got to be able to trust that guy. Now, Brian Kelly also did talk about the offensive line, and they are solidified there on the offensive line. Muse, I'm not sure which one this is where he talks about the line that's solidified. There's two on there. You got it? Okay, go ahead.
The linchpin to the decision at the offensive line started and ended with the center position. Once we felt comfortable with Garrett Dellinger at the center position, everything else was able to fall into place. And when I say comfortable at the center position, the ability to call out fronts, the ability to feel comfortable snapping the ball, and then executing his technique. There's a lot going on there, and here's a guy who hadn't played the position. So that's a big ask. Guy coming off of surgery, not active in the spring. He did an incredible job. To place all of that on him and be demanding. Some of you were at the practice. I was pretty demanding on him and certainly required a lot of follow-up with him, spending time with him, making sure that he stayed confident in that, and he did that. Now, since that day, we were able to decide what was the best rotation in that regard. And we think Bradford at guard and Frazier at guard and Wire and Campbell at the tackle position gives us the best chance with those five guys.
So he gave you there at the end of the bite, you're five. And something he talked about was the big guys in the middle. And I think that is probably as key to anything. Bradford is a 350-pound guard. He is a massive man on the inside. Garrett Dellinger's, as Brian Kelly has talked about, at 313 pounds. He is a big center. If you look at Miles Frazier moving to left guard. That's a guy that you were working at tackle. Now you've got him at left guard. You get a big athletic guy on the interior. You have three giant humans on the interior of your line. If you want to run the football and prevent a defense from, as Mike Detillier used to say, blowing up the launch pad, you got to have big dudes in the middle that can protect and not allow a rush to seep through and also blow guys off the ball and give your running back room to run. That also means Cam Wire goes to right tackle, so he is now solidified as your starting right tackle, an athletic guy that's played tackle at both sides, and Will Campbell at the left. So your starting offensive line is set as well. Y'all, the key to this game is which offensive line can get their running back to the line of scrimmage without getting hit. If a running back has to cut before he gets to the line of scrimmage, it's game over against these defensive fronts. Which offensive line is going to be better suited to do that? We will be here 1 week from today. I know Monday's Labor Day, but we work on Labor Day after the first game. So we will be here a week from today, and the story of this game is going to be which offensive line performed better against a really good defensive front. LSU's offensive line is now set. We wait on word about quarterback. It looks like we'll find out when LSU's offense trots out there for the first series against Florida State. All right, it's after further review, y'all. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back, a little out of locks, see what we're betting on tonight. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Rouse's. Football season's here, y'all. Tailgate season is here. Game watch season is here. And Rouse's is making it easier than ever to get ready for your tailgate or for your game watch with your own personal shopper. That's right. Go to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. They've got curbside pickup available. Go to the app, select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick out your items. When you pull up, they bring it out to the car for you, saving you time, making it easier than ever this football season, thanks to Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You know they got locations all over. Matter of fact, yesterday my dad called me. Honest to goodness, true story. Dad and my Gramps were in the car. They're heading to Rouse's. He called me and said, hey, we're going to go to Rouse's. I hear you talking about the food. What should we get for dinner? I said, get the brisket. Trust me, y'all love it. Pick out your own sides, whatever y'all want. Hey, but Grammy likes sushi. Cool, they got sushi. Get that as well. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Outer Locks.
Outer Locks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable, the often incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy. Otter, how are you?
Doing fantastic. How about you, Matthew?
Rocking chair cover on Saturday night / Sunday morning. Vandy running roughshod all over Hawaii. Appreciate the tip on that one, Otter. Not bad. Not bad.
Thank
tip.
you, sir.
A little rocking chair cover on that one. So.
See, and as I explained, the 3 teams in week 0 that just got crushed, whether the coach, it was Hawaii, Wyoming, and in Nevada. And Hawaii got crushed. When's the last time Vandy beat somebody 62-10? Wyoming got crushed. And then New Mexico State is right there, but a -5 turnover ratio in one game. That'll do it. They threw the 5th, the interception in the end zone, in the red zone to try and backdoor it. So they won real big, 2 of them, and we're so close to 3-0. But, yeah, that was a good angle that we'll look to exploit again in week 2. Or week 1, rather, for the teams that didn't play in week 0.
All right, Otter, what are we looking at tonight, man? I'm assuming a lot of baseball.
A couple of 5:40 games. Only 7 games on the schedule tonight. 2 already went. The Dodgers at Miami, St. Louis at Cincinnati. We're looking at one here. Actually, all of them at 7 o'clock or later. Minnesota in Bundy against Bello.
Wait, sorry to interrupt, Otter. I'm showing Cardinals Reds at 6:40.
Okay.
So
okay.
I think we got time on that one.
Yeah, I like St. Louis minus the run line a little bit.
I'm not playing it if you're not giving it as a pick. So
no, I'm not.
Okay.
Let me get to it. It's the last 2 on the schedule. Okay. First of all, the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Phillies, Suarez is number 3 ROI guy in all of baseball, Major League Baseball. Return on investment. You bet him $100 every time. Da-da-da-da-da. Arizona Bumgarner. You heard about him. Well, he's just a little bit removed from being that World Series hero. 5 straight, brutal starts. Almost a run scored for every inning pitched in his last 5 starts. Philadelphia's $1.75. I don't want to lay that, but I'm going to lay -1.5. -107 with the Phillies there.
Okay.
And then one more pick later tonight, San Diego and San Francisco. You know San Diego. I went there for a weekend. And so since they picked up Mario
a month's
Soto.
worth of weekends, you jackleg. You ruined all our good momentum, too.
So ROI, the Padres are -1534 since Soto's first game with the Padres. They are free falling. Of course, the Tatis thing just piles on. But Carlos Rodon, he is in a groove in his last 5, averaging 6 1/3 innings pitched, only 1 run allowed on the average in those starts, and his strike to walkout ratio 41-2 over those 5 starts. I am going with a couple of plays in this game. I'm going with Rodon -129, and then first 5 under 3.5 -108. So 3 plays tonight. 2 in the same game.
All right, so San Francisco money line, and then you gave a first 5 under
3.5.
Under 3.5. Okay, so just to recap, because I do get feedback out of when people say we go through it quickly, all that stuff. So I want to make sure that I take time to do it. So all right, the Phillies on the run line, so Philly -1.5, San Francisco on the money line, and San Francisco first 5 under 3.5. Those are the 3 plays tonight.
And I do understand. I apologize on your behalf for those people that you rushed me through this thing so much. With the timer and everything else. Musso can't find me. He's calling Hanny instead of me. The usual.
I know it doesn't. Okay, yes, it does happen at times. But anyway, I'm here trying to sift through this to get through my whole trying to find my run line. I can't, my first five. I can't find. Anyway, I'll get to it after the show. That's another problem too, Otters. I'm sifting through this, trying to make the bets as we go, and I'm trying to navigate the app, listen, ask questions. So anyway, all right, where are you tonight?
Rouge Creole. Charlie and I over here at Rouge Creole watching a little U.S. Open. We'll put on the MLB Network as well, monitoring the games, let you know what happens there, and recap of Week 0 and an early peek to Week 1 in college football. Rouge Creole and Perkins Road.
Rouge Creole, great spot. Great, sneaky good whiskey selection over at Rouge Creole, too, by the way. They got a really, really good selection if you're looking for it. So, all right, Otter, have a great show. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, again, Otter gives you the Phillies minus the run line, which is -1.5. San Francisco on the money line, and the first 5 under 3.5. We're brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. That's me. That's Ryan Terrio. That's Richard Tilley. That's all of our partners at Hudco Roofing, a Louisiana-owned and operated business. Storm season's here. It's been raining every day. One of the detriments about it raining every day, of course, is, my goodness, a lot of times you figure out that you got roof damage. If you do, give us a shout. From the smallest residential repair to the largest commercial roofing re-roof, we'd love to help you. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Muse, what'd you learn today?
The NFL used to release a VHS tape of big hits.
How did you not know? The NFL's greatest hits, you got to look it up. They had to stop it because of CTE and the lawsuits and all that sort of stuff. Paulie, what did you learn today?
Our scientific Twitter data says Vandy is still not good.
What'd you learn, Matt?
I don't know. We'll see you tomorrow.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. Honestly, I was navigating the DraftKings app, trying to make my first 5 under 3.5 play, which we'll go ahead and get that in, and boom, and boom. Okay, we're set. Now I'm good. And I could see all that perfectly on the app because of the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. Or go to the website, WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEYE.com. Dr. Blake Williamson, his great staff, they'll get you seeing perfect without contacts or glasses, no matter your age or your refractive issue. But I always say, eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. Eye care, you need the family eye exam, you can do it at Williamson. Eyewear, all this month, which is running out, by the way. Buy 1 pair of glasses, get your second 50% off, and eye surgery. No matter your age or your refractive issue, if you want to see perfect without contacts or glasses, the Williamson Eye Center can make it happen.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.